in future years, with Hugh being called Father Hefter. No big deal, I just think Hugh takes himself too seriously. So big deal he made girly magazines acceptable. Does that make him an expert on human morality and the effects those sudden changes in our morality could have years down the line in the future? Oh well, out Hugh goes with the rest of the trash. Oh, I guess Cousin Krause would call this book cover obscene, because it shows what happens when big shot writers like Stephen King write weird stories. It only gives our scientists ideas, and then they start messing with Mother Nature, and before you know it, we're in a fix we can't get out of. Oh well, out she goes with the rest of my prophetic ideas that don't go along with mainstream thinking. And it's all your fault, Cousin Krause.
It's lonely, but you know you only used to get juiced in it. Street, and now you're gonna have to get used to it. Beat goes on. Beat goes on.
Cut it. I'm sure Cousin Krause would want me to toss this one out, because it seems to be making fun of chemically dependent persons. But I said people need to take responsibility for their own actions and not be blaming them on everything else and everybody else. But I'll tell you folks, I sort of agree with lots of Rush Limbaugh's stuff, but by him acting like a real big ogre only discredits those ideas for most people. Sure, they say he only acts that way for entertainment's sake, so I say he thinks more of entertainment and popularity than of his ideas. Hold it, forget this paltry picture, folks. Oh, let me just take a quick peek down at the fallout shelter and make sure Cousin Krause is still down there working. I don't want him to catch me showing this video. Oh, okay, folks, the coast is clear. Let's get back to, hey, David.
That all changed as I entered 7th grade. I started having uncontrollable muscle twitches in my face and my hands. Handwriting, much less good handwriting, became such a chore, I started typing everything. And I was afraid to talk to people because my teeth would start to chatter. Oh, I know it sounds funny now, but it sure didn't back then. Anyway, I was told the shakiness was from teenage nerves and would pass. But my social life was finished, at least for the time being, and I kept totally to myself, working harder than ever at my studies since it seemed I was still able to do well at that, at least, at school. At one point, actually, when I was in 8th grade, I typed up a 150-page notebook on the so-called westward movement. Manifest Destiny, I think it was called. And actually, I have a copy of it that my mother had kept still up there on the shelf. I got from her a couple weeks ago. Like I said, it was called Manifest Destiny. However, my destiny at the time seemed to be to do a lot of reading, mostly about righteous presidents, great explorers, and brilliant survivors, inventors, I mean. I knew I could never be a family man, much less a president, because of my newfound nervousness and the lack of sociability it caused. But I did discover I had a knack for repairing lawnmowers and building go-karts, so I decided I could maybe help the world out of the quagmire it was in with some great invention. After all, I designed and built a 4-engine go-kart by myself, with a little help from some friends, with a 3-speed transmission when I was only 16. Oh, none of the teachers at school that I showed the pictures to believed I had done it by myself. Anyway, what more could it take to qualify as a technology-based savior, I ask you, David? I really shouldn't joke about that because it was and still is, like I've said before, a really serious issue. At any rate, I went to engineering school at Washington University here in St. Louis, but I quickly discovered that how to be an inventor was not in the curriculum.
Washington University? Executive toilet training? Oh man, that Krause can be crude.
And I became more frustrated than ever, wondering how I was ever going to fit into the world, much less help it out. So I quit college, and it was the mid-60s, so I joined the Marine Corps.
Sorry folks, I gotta quit tape from running. I just found out that Richard's on his way out of the fallout shelter on his way up here to get some tools. We'll get back to the show and pick up with the Dear David video later.
Drums keep pounding a rhythm to the brain. La-da-da-da-dee, la-da-da-da-da. Charleston was once the rage, History has turned a page, The miniskirt, the current thing, Teeny Bopper is our newborn king, And the beat goes on. Goes on in a rhythm to the brain. La-da-da-da-dee, la-da-da-da-da. The grocery store, the supermarket. Little girls will break their hearts, Men still keep on marching off the war.
Leave it here, folks. Oh well, I'm sure Cousin Krause would want me to toss this picture out, because it seems to be making fun of our President and First Lady. But really, I just got the Bushes dressed up in Arab and Israeli outfits to show that they'll go to any length to try and help the peace process out in the Midwest. But I don't think Cousin Krause can comprehend that. And speaking of Cousin Krause, he got his tools and is back down in the fallout shelter with his go-kart. So what better time to get back to the video he sent me?
It was the mid-60s, so I quit college and joined the Marine Corps. Maybe that would be the purpose of my life, to die for my country. I really thought that might be the case. After a lackluster and bloodless but honorable enlistment, I went back to Washington University, but not for long. I was very unhappy with my seemingly senseless existence, and a family doctor put me on some of the tranquilizers which had become quite fashionable back then in the 60s. That's when my troubles started big time. Instead of feeling better from the pharmaceuticals, I became more depressed than ever. Almost catatonic as the doctor increased the dosages. Over the next couple of years, I received more than 40 electric shock treatments. The depression was somewhat better, but my memory of most of my life had gone for the time being, and I had to retake all the basic courses at Washington University. Antidepressants arrived, and I was served several varieties. On one particularly noteworthy occasion, the doctor told me to stop taking the medication all at once. I began a horrid weekend of cold turkey withdrawal and went berserk, with my well-intentioned but overreactive uncle called the police, and they came to see what the problem was. My mind was racing and disoriented, and I was afraid they would take me back to some hospital for some more shock treatments. And actually, I'd woken up in the middle of a couple of them, and it was a nightmare. But anyway, so to keep from going back for more shock treatments, I shot a gun off in the air.
Okay, folks, let me freeze the action here for a second and insert an unauthorized editorial note that I'll fill you all in on some juicy details of the gunplay at the Krause Corral near the end of this program. But for now, back to the Krause Confidential.
One shot, and I found myself committed to the Missouri State Mental Hospital at Farmington. After observation and testing, the staff told me I had no business being there, that my doctor had sent me there just to hide her mistake of sudden withdrawal from experimental medication. But I was also told that they couldn't just release me.